Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick video on fat burners and why I don't typically use them. And this could fall under all stimulants. Um, a lot of times clients will come to me and they'll ask, can I use this fat burner? Can I use this pre-workout? Can I use this and that? And usually my answer will be no. And I'll go into kind of the reasons why a little more in depth than I usually would. Burning body fat, there's a lot more to it than just a caloric deficit, although some people will argue that. I don't believe that. I believe there's a lot more going on. Mainly hormonal shifts in your body, which optimize how you utilize fuel. So if we just dive into your nervous system, you've got your SNS, your sympathetic nervous system, and your parasympathetic nervous system kind of in this balance. Now, when your SNS is activated, we'll call that your fight or flight, during training, during stressful times, etc., you've got a lot of things going on, like cortisol elevating, glucose dumping into the bloodstream to utilize as fuel. Your body is in a state where it does not want to use body fat as fuel, it wants to use glucose. Call it a protective mechanism, whatever. Then on the other side, you've got your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest aspect, where your body can then kind of calm down, flip around, utilize fat for fuel more effectively, and stress hormones will lower. So if we're looking from an overall long-term fat loss perspective, we want a balance here to be in effect. If your SNS is always activated, you cannot burn body fat optimally. I don't care if you're in a caloric deficit or not. It's not going to be optimal. So the problem with fat burners, first off, we'll say the problem with people in general is that most people lead stressed out lives. They're fucking stressed. I'd say most all my clients lead very stressful, very busy lives. So their SNS is already dominant. Their ability to rest and digest, their ability to calm down and actually utilize fat for fuel and get their stress hormones down is already impaired. Now, what do stimulants do? They're gonna activate your SNS harder, right? So if we're putting things in your body that are going to impair your ability to recover and digest and rest, we're impairing your ability to lose fat. I don't care if it stimulates your freaking whatever, it has a thermogenic effect that speeds you up a little bit. Overall, that is going to be counteractive to what we're trying to do. So most of my clients will not use fat burners for the majority of their diets. Instead, we focus more on things like, how are you sleeping? We do a lot of work on sleep. We do a lot of work on stress management. We do a lot of these kind of things, which put your body in a hormonal state to do the things we want it to do. Going forward, when would you use a fat burner? Well, if we're talking pharmaceutical fat burners, that's a whole different story, and I'm not even going to get into that. If we're talking over-the-counter stimulants that you can buy at GNC, typically I will use them at the end of a diet phase. So we'll take Alex Tager, for example. She's lost an incredible amount of body fat, like absolutely incredible. And we'll say 95% of that, there was no fat burners. All that was us dialing in the little lifestyle factors, her dieting progressively harder, her progressively doing more work. And when we reached a point where it's like, okay, we are at the very end of our diet. Like, I can't pull your food any lower in good conscience. I can't make you do any more work because you're already doing a lot and it would negatively impact your life in general. And you're already very lean. We've lost a ton of body fat and we're almost at a sticky point where we're not going to keep going. That's when we put in the fat burner. So for Alex Tager, for instance, for the last maybe week and a half, out of 6 months we've been doing this, she has been using a fat burner for the last week and a half, an over-the-counter one that I actually recommend. Comes highly recommended by other coaches. Most of them, by the way, are bullshit anyway. And we will probably use that for the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 maximum. But immediately when she started using that, what happened? Her sleep got worse. Her stress levels went up. She was experiencing kind of more cold sweats. Like, she's already dieting hard, which is creating an environment in her body which is highly stressed, and it basically magnified all of that. Now, is it going to work short term? I believe so. Otherwise, I wouldn't have her do it. But I don't think that it's going to last for very long. I think it maybe lasts 2 to 4 weeks before her body just gets so wired up that she has to stop. So again, at the end of a diet phase, that's when you can put in a little extra something to push you along. When you're basically like, okay, we're basically done here. We've done all we can do. Now let's get the last little bit off that we can. And then you throw in things like that. Again, the same thing goes for pre-workout stimulants. I don't have most people use them because, again, why? You're already in a chronically stressed out state. Most people, it will do nothing but impair your recovery. And then you become, what's the word? Not immune, conditioned, whatever. It's like when you take drugs and they stop working, whatever that fucking word is, I can't think of it. You become that, and they don't work as effectively, but yet the effects of the drug on your system still are in effect. So you're still experiencing the negatives of the drug minus the positives. So again, pre-workout stimulants, stuff like that, again, I save till the very end, maybe of a diet phase if possible. For my own personal experience, like my last prep, I used 0 stimulants all the way up until 6 weeks out. And then I hammered myself with them, and I was miserable. But I needed to do it because I couldn't function otherwise. So again, if you're looking to lose the most amount of fat possible over an extended period of time, not just like some short little 3-week burst, then it would behoove you to not overuse stimulants and other things that are going to basically throw your nervous system into a state where it can't recover.